Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to Top 10 Week here on Digital Caveman Presents. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with my Top 10 list of Masters of the Universe. This list consists of the top 10 out of all that I reviewed this year. There may be some stuff that came out this year that I didn't quite make it to. But as long as I reviewed it this year and it wasn't spillover from last year's top 10 list, it is eligible. Let's get into it! Let's start things off with the honorable mention. The one piece that didn't quite make it into the top 10. And for me, it was the Masters of the Universe Masterverse Revelation Teela, or as I like to refer to her, Captain of the Guard Teela. And while this is a great figure and it really gets, that almost classic look, she didn't quite make the top 10. Here we have, starting the list proper, and the number 10 slot, we have the Mega Bloks Masters of the Universe, She-Ra versus Monstroid. And not only does she verse Monstroid in this, but she also versus Hordak. And it comes with Party Colors Prince Adam. This is a really great set that throws back to some features of the original Masters of the Universe Monstroid toy. And everything but Prince Adam, the figures are all, in their original toy-ish colors. Prince Adam, I'm sure, is probably from a mini comic somewhere. But that's it. Number 10, Mega Bloks Monstroid. And here in the number 9 slot, we have the Masters of the Universe Masterverse New Eternia Jitsu. While I'm not a big fan of the information they gave for Jitsu on the back of the packaging, this is still an awesome looking character who, with just a few, removal of his waist down armor and his mask, is a very classic looking Jitsu. And like all the New Eternia, they have a very classic look and a more modern look. So here we have number 9, New Eternia Jitsu. And in the number 8 position, we have the Masterverse Princess of Power Hordak. And, this guy is classic Filmation looking. The only improvement that I would have made on this figure is to give him a wired cape rather than this thin material. And even the material is okay. It just, I don't know. At this point, wired cape should be a standard thing. But very classic looking. And, especially if you're a fan of the Filmation series, I'm sure eventually they'll do a repaint in the toy colors, if you prefer that. And, even the fact that he came with a swappable arm that was the gun cannon is, that, I think that was a great choice. When I was little, I used to pop Hordak's arm off and pop Trapjaw's arm on him without any attachments to make it his gun arm. But now I don't have to do that. Yay! Number 8, Masterverse Princess of Power Hordak. Here we have the number 7 slot, Masterverse New Eternia Zodak. And I was a little surprised this one made the list. I never really was a big Zodak fan because, to start off with, they couldn't decide if he was a good guy or a bad guy. And then he made rare appearances on the Filmation show. And then I think the most, active he was in stuff was in the Mike Young show, which this is a sort of a throwback to that as well. But, it's just overall, this figure looks great. I like his accessories. He comes with a holster for his gun now. You can remove bits off of him just like all the other New Eternia figures and give him that more classic look. And he even comes with the more animalistic feet rather than boots as he was in the Filmation show. And, he has the batons, which turn into a staff, which go back to the Mike Young show. And it's just, it was a surprise to me that Zodak made it on the top 10 list and, in the number 7 spot even. But overall, it's a very cool Zodak figure. So there it is, number 7, Masterverse New Eternia Zodak. Here we have the number 6 position, Masterverse Revelation Merman. And this is from the time jump, after all the stuff happens. Which, if you haven't seen it by now, I'm trying not to do any spoilers, but, you really should have seen it by now if you were going to watch it. But it's a really cool take on the character. I do really wish that they had given him his corncob sword in addition to the sword he comes with, but his corncob sword and his chest armor, so that, this could also be a more classic inspired merman as well as the modern take on him. But, I think I like it. He's scarred up. He's had a hard life since Skeletor died, becoming Supreme Warlord over the ocean again, I guess. I don't know. Lost an eye somewhere. I mean, this guy looks like he's been through it, and he's still ready to bust butt. Even though his trident is now a bident. I guess that's what you would call it, since it only has 2 prongs. But here he is in the number 6 position, Masterverse Revelation Merman. Next up, in the number 5 slot, and I know what you're saying, hey, why is this one so far down in the numbers at number 5? But, in my opinion, your mileage may vary. In my opinion, this one rated at number 5, and it's the 40th Masterverse 40th edition, or 40th anniversary He-Man. And this is an excellent figure, and I wanted to put him higher up on the list, but there were some that I liked better than this one, even though it is a great, great figure, and it probably did deserve to be higher up on the list. But here he is at number 5, the Masterverse 40th Anniversary He-Man. And here in the number 4 position, we have the Masterverse New Eternia Barbarian Skeletor. And of course, one of the features I like about this figure is, like all the New Eternia figures, a few parts changed out, and you have a really classic inspired version of the character, and this one is no different. You remove the armor overlay with the cape, and you have his classic armor and a head swap, and look what you got. You got classic Skeletor, for the most part. Now, this Skeletor, of course, does have 5 toes rather than just 3, like the original figure. But, you know what? That's okay, because he used to be Keldor. But you know, I do wish the blues were a little bit darker on this figure. But other than that, I'm gonna say other than that, you know, the cape issue, you know, it should have had wires in it. But the piece that, you know, the piece that has the cape on it, I feel like should have connected up a little more solidly with the classic armor, and it just kind of sits there instead of just, you know, having some way to actually be in place, even though it's got some tabs on the shoulders that fit on the anyway, it doesn't fit as well as I would like, and we'll leave it at that. But those are the only two real minor issues I had with this figure. But here he is, number 4, Masterverse New Eternia Barbarian Skeletor. Next we have number 3, which is the Masterverse Princess of Power, She-Ra. And from this more Filmation look to the part swaps that give it a little more of a classic toy look, I much prefer this look. This is the one I'm familiar with from the show, and this is the one that the look I like. But there's nothing wrong with the maxed head and the armor piece and the longer cape. Those are really cool. This is the one I prefer. The only real issue with this figure is the capes. And again, not wired. I know I'm just harping on this, but you know, I really believe that should be a standard feature for soft goods on action figures these days. That's, you know, my opinion. Your mileage, of course, may vary on that. But here she is, the Princess of Power herself, Masterverse She-Ra. Here we are, getting down to the nitty-gritty with the number 2 position, that is. Masterverse New Eternia Battle Armor He-Man. This, I think... Okay, and a lot of people may disagree. Again, this is my opinion. This is my list based off of what I reviewed this year. And I like the looks of this He-Man more than the 40th edition He-Man. And I know that might cause some people to disagree with me, and that's fine. We can disagree. As long as we can disagree in a civil manner, it's all good. But I think just the kind of wore down look on the face of this He-Man, he's seen some stuff, you know, some bad stuff. He's been through some bad stuff. Just take a look at his battle armor. It's been beat to hell, at least on the chest plate. And, you know, again, you can remove some stuff and make this guy a more classic looking version of the character. But you know what? I like him like this. He's just, you know, he looks like he's at the point he's had enough, and he is fixing to chop people up. It's because they're evil and he's He-Man. But of course he can't do that because he's He-Man. But that's what he looks like he wants to do. So, again, it's, you know, from the deco, the styling, and just the overall look of this character. I mean, he's worn down. And you can see that in his face. He's tired of it. He's ready to be done. And just, this almost was the number 1 figure of the year, folks. I really, really like this figure, and I'm having problems articulating how much that I like this figure. Just the ruggedness, and he's had enough. Look of it is just, it's great looking. and a nice figure. It has nice paint decos on it. And I've rambled on enough about this one. Number 2, Masterverse New Eternia Battle Armor He-Man. And finally, here in the number 1 spot, we have Masterverse New Eternia Beastman. And I know what you're thinking. Beastman? How in the hell did he make number 1? But just take a look at this guy. This is the Beastman that we have waited for 40 years. Or at least those of us that grew up with the original Masters of the Universe figures. We waited 40 years for a Beastman this badass. And that's exactly what he is. Yes, you can give him that classic look, but why? This is the most beastly Beastman who ever beasted. And it's excellent. Everything about this figure was brand new except for the hands. That was the only reuse from Masterverse Revelation Beastman. Thank goodness. Because that's the poor man's Beastman. This is Beastman. You know, the nice fur pelt armor piece. He comes with his classic whip. He comes with the spiky huge baseball bat. Okay, I don't think you could play baseball with that. It's probably not regulation, but that's kind of what it looks like. A club, I guess you should call it. I definitely do not want to go clubbing with Beastman, because you might not come back. You know what I mean? But there it is, my number 1 pick. The Masterverse New Eternia Beastman. That does it for the list. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. Remember, this list is my opinions. Your mileage, of course, may vary. Thank you for watching. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view that I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you'd like to see more reviews, or just help the channel out further, or both, that's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.